Hi, my name is Yin Gao and welcome to Dr. Gao's classroom. I'm a professional philosopher and I love classical Chinese poetry. I have been teaching and translating classical Chinese philosophies for many years and classical Chinese poetry for the last few years. And I would love to share my knowledge on these subjects. Your enjoyment is my command. Today, I'm going to continue my talk about Meng Haoran's life and his friendship with Li Bai and Wang Wei, as well as a few anecdotes how Meng Haoran ruined his opportunity to enter the bureaucratic system. I'm also going to translate and analyze a poem composed by Li Bai praising Meng Haoran's poetic talent and integrity, and one poem by Meng Haoran, plus two couplets by Wang Changing and Meng Haoran allegedly composed in a poetry competition party. In my next video, I'm going to introduce another poet known for his poetry from the frontier. His name is Chen Shen. Chen Shen is from an aristocrat family whose family had many members hold prominent official positions at the town court, including 3 former premiers. Chen Shen's poetry from the frontier is known for its patriotic passion and realistic representation of the lives at the frontier. So if you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, and medical literature. If you like the content of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on this subject. So if you would like to read the original text, please contact me. Here's my email address. Since this is the second video on Meng Haoran, it is better for you to watch the first one if you haven't. Now, let me continue the story about Meng Haoran. In 726 AD, Meng Haoran met Li Bai, and the two of them hit it off right away. Li Bai admired Meng Haoran so much that he openly declared it in his poem. This is quite rare among Chinese scholars because most Chinese value an implicit and moderate expression of emotions. But Li Bai did not care. When he loved someone, he would say it out loud. You just have to love Li Bai for this. Here is the poem he composed for Meng Haoran. Let me just read it in Chinese first. 吾爱孟夫子，风流天下闻。红颜弃轩冕，白首卧松云。醉月频众盛，迷花不是君。高山安可仰，徒此揖清风。Now let's look at the first 4 lines. 吾爱孟夫子，风流天下闻。红颜弃轩冕，白首卧松云。吾 means I means love. Meng refers to Meng Haoran. 夫子 is a reverent title for someone with extraordinary scholarly achievement, such as in the title for Confucius, that is, 孔夫子. 风流 refers to one's talent in literature as well as bearing or demeanor in classical Chinese. In modern Chinese, it means being loose and dissolute. My colleague and I translate it as talent. 天 means heaven. 下 means under. 闻 means know or to be known. 红颜 means useful look, and here it refers to the use time. 弃 means abandon. 轩 means chariot. 冕 means crown. 轩冕 refers to high rank positions. 白 means white. 首 means head, but here 白首 means white hair. 卧 means sleep. 松 means pine. 云 means cloud. So the 4 lines read, I love Master Meng Haoran. His talent is known by all under heaven. Red-faced he abandoned chariot and crown. White-haired, he sleeps under the cloudy pine. 醉月频众盛，迷花不是君。高山安可仰，徒此揖清芬。醉 means drunk, 月 means moon, 频 means often. 重 here is pronounced in the fourth tone rather than the first tone. It means being hit by something or hit the target, as in 中箭, being hit by an arrow. 盛 usually means shade, but here it refers to clear wine. This reference came from a story from the Three Kingdom period of the 3rd century AD. The kingdom of Wei banned alcohol, but one of its generals, Xu Miao, loved drinking so much, he labeled the clear wine as shade and unfiltered wine as virtuous person to cover up his drinking habit. So 中盛 means getting drunk by drinking clear wine. 迷 means enchanted. 花 means flower. 迷花 means being enchanted by flowers. But here it might refer to the fact that Meng Haoran married a beautiful courtesan, because flower was often used to represent beauty in classical Chinese. 不 means not. 是 means attend. 君 means the emperor. 侍君 means to attend the imperial matters. So we translated the two terms together as being a fan of flowers, but not imperial matters. 高 means high. 山 means mountain. 高山 literally means high mountain, but here it refers to Meng Haoran's extraordinary literary talent and moral integrity. 安 means how. 可 means could. 仰 means look up. 安可仰 is a rhetorical question meaning how could I look up to you enough so that I can emulate your talent and morality. 图 means could only. 此 means here. 一 means salute. 清 means refreshing. 芬 means fragrance. 清芬 literally means refreshing fragrance, but here it refers to Meng Haoran's lofty integrity. During Imperial China, many scholars regarded politics as corruptive to one's integrity and retreat to the mountains and rivers as a sign of high integrity, which here is represented as refreshing fragrance. So the 4 lines read, he often gets drunk on clear wine under the moon, a fan of flowers but not imperial matters. His talent is so extraordinary, it's difficult to emulate. I can only salute to his lofty integrity. It is quite unusual for Li Bai to be so humble. You probably realize how proud Li Bai was when he read a beautiful poem. His first thought was not to admire it, but to compose a poem better than it. I talked about this in my 2 videos about the possible rivalry he had with Wang Wei. Li Bai composed many poems about the knight-errant until he was sure that he had outdone Wang Wei on the topic. For him to admire Meng Haoran this much, they must have had a very deep friendship. Li Bai also composed several other poems for Meng Haoran. I might make more videos on those poems in the future. It is no surprise that Li Bai and Meng Haoran became best friends. There were just a lot in common between the 2 great poets. They both studied Taoism and practiced martial art when they were young. They both longed for a life among mountains and rivers, and enjoy poetry, wine, travel, as well as the nature world and its beauty. However, they were also enticed by the power and prestige of a political career, either pressured by their family or their own ambition. Hence, tone between these two incompatible ways of life. I also talked about how Li Bai struggled with this in my video about him. No wonder they became best of friends instantly. In 727 AD, Meng Haoran finally decided to sit for the National Civil Service examination at the capital. He arrived early in the capital and was introduced to many of the scholars waiting for the exam in the following spring. At the time, there were all sorts of parties held for these scholars where they can show off their talents. They were called a 诗会 or poetry competition party. Participants were supposed to compose a couplet when it was his turn, or if no one could come up with a good couplet, one can just present his own. One day, Meng Haoran was invited to such a party held at the 秘书省 or Secretariat Department at the court. And many of the known poets were also attending, including the big names like Wang Wei, Zhang Jiuling, Wang Changing, etc. Several people already had a go, and nothing stand out until Wang Changing presented his couplet. 长亭久未醒，千里风动地。长 means long, 亭 means way station. 长亭 refers to the way station the state set up every 10 miles. During the Imperial China, there was a comprehensive post service for communication and traveling scholars and officials. They set up way stations every 5 miles called 短亭 and every 10 miles called 长亭. People often held parting parties at such way stations to see off their friends. 酒 means wine, 未 means not yet, 醒 means sober, 千 means thousand, 里 means mile, 风 means wind, 动 means stir, 地 means field. So the two lines read, at the 10-mile way station, I'm not yet sober. A wind from 1,000 miles away stirs the fields. This couplet expresses a very strong emotion. The poet saw a friend off and got drunk because he was so sad that the friend was gone. Even the strong wind from 1,000 miles away could not take away his sadness. What an affectionate couplet! So for quite a while, no one could come up with anything matching this couplet. Then Meng Haoran presented his couplet. 微云淡河汉，疏雨滴梧桐。微 means thin, 云 means cloud, 淡 means blur, 河 refers to Yellow River, 汉 refers the Han River. When 河 and Han put together, it refers to the Milky Way. 疏 means sparse, 雨 means rain. 疏雨 refers to drizzle. 滴 literally means drop, but here it refers to the sound of raindrop on the parasol tree leaves. So we translated it as patter. 梧桐 refers to the parasol tree. So the two lines read, thin clouds blur the Milky Way, drizzle patters on the leaves of the parasol tree. Once Meng Haoran wrote down his couplet, everyone knew that he won the competition. These couplets matched the Wang Changling's couplets perfectly. The strong emotion expressed in Wang Changling's couplet was balanced by the gentle moonlight and soft sound of raindrop, but on a cosmic scale that matched the grandeur expression of the strong emotion. So Meng Haoran's reputation as a poetic genius was firmly established. This story is probably true because it was recorded in the introduction of the first published collection of Meng Haoran's poetry compiled by a family friend named Wang Changing in 745 AD, 5 years after Meng Haoran passed away. Now, let me continue my story about Meng Haoran. However, in the following spring, Meng Haoran failed the civil service examination. He was quite disappointed and composed a poem expressing his feeling. Meng Haoran made a lot of friends. One of his friends was Wang Wei, who invited him to his office in the palace to cheer him up. While they were chatting, the Emperor Li Longji suddenly showed up. Meng Haoran was terrified because he was not supposed to enter the palace without permission, and he feared that he would be in big trouble if caught. So without much thinking, he went under the bed in the next room for the night shift of the office to hide. When the emperor entered the office, Wang Wei could not lie to the emperor, so he told the emperor Meng Haoran was hiding in the next room. Lucky for Meng Haoran, the emperor had heard of his poetic reputation and asked Meng Haoran to come out. After the exchanges of niceties, the emperor asked Meng Haoran if he composed any new poem. This was a very rare opportunity many scholars dreamed about. That they could personally demonstrate their talent in front of the emperor. So many scholars spent 20 years to study and pass countless examinations to get a chance to show their talent to the emperor. Even the great poet Li Bai spent 20 years to get an audience with the emperor. Well, Meng Haoran just presented the poem he composed after the failed exam without much thinking. So here it is, the poem. Let me read it first. 北阙修上树，南山归壁庐。不才明主气，多病故人疏。白发催年老，青阳逼岁除。永怀愁不寐，松月夜窗虚。Now, let's look at the first 4 lines. 北阙修上树，南山归壁庐。不才明主气，多病故人疏。北 means north, 阙 means tower, 修 means do not or will not, 上 means present, 书 means document or essay. 北阙上书 refers to the official selecting practice adopted by the Han Martial Emperor Liu Che, where the candidates were expected to compile a document presenting suggestions about national or international policies to the emperor, and the emperor and other high-rank officials would read the document and decide whether to recruit the candidate. Here the poet declared that he would not present such document to the emperor, meaning that he was no longer interested in seeking an official position. Nan means south, San means mountain. Nanshan refers to Zhongnanshan, a mountain located to the south of the capital Chang'an. Gui means return, Bi means shabby, Lu means hut, Bu means not, Cai means talent, Bu Cai means there is no talent, Ming means wise, Zhu means lord. Mingzhu refers to the current Emperor Li Longji. Qi means reject. Duo means many. Bing means melody. Gu means old. Ren means person. Gu Ren means old friend. Shu means song. So the 4 lines read, I won't present my essays to the emperor. I'll return to my shabby hut on the South Mountain. I have no talent, so the emperor rejected me. I have lots of melodies and my old friend sung me. 白发催年老，青阳逼岁除。永怀愁不寐，松月夜窗虚。白 means white, 发 means hair, 催 means urge, 年 means year, 老 means old. 青 means green, 阳 means spring. 青阳 refers to the spring, but it also refers to young people. 逼 means false, 岁 means year, 除 means out. So we translate the line as New Year forces out the old. 永 is an abbreviation of 永夜, meaning long night. 怀 means hold. 愁 means sorrow. 不 means not. 寐 means sleep. 松 means pine. 月 means moon. 夜 means night. 窗 means window. 虚 means empty. We also reverse the order of the last two lines so it would read better in English. So the 4 lines read, My white hair urges on old age. The new year forces out the old. The moon is in the pines in my empty window. I can't sleep in long nights of sorrow. This poem, according to 新唐书, or the new history of Tang Dynasty, angered the Emperor Li Longji. He allegedly retorted by saying, You have never sought a position, nor have I ever rejected you. Why do you frame me like this? And stormed out. Of course, no one dared to hire Meng Haoran after this encounter. Emperor Li Longji reigned the Tang Dynasty from 712 to 756 AD. His long and capable regime offered a politically stable environment for the Tang society to prosper. The Tang became the richest and strongest empire during his reign. Li Longji was a rather good emperor until 750s in his old age. He was very proud that he recognized all the talents in his empire and placed them in important positions. So when Meng Haoran complained that his talent was ignored by the emperor, Li Longji was quite upset because what Meng Haoran said in his poem would damage his reputation as a beneficent emperor, especially that Meng Haoran was quite influential among the scholar officials at the time. So Meng Haoran's complaints about his old friend also alienated many of his friends. So, in one poem, Meng Haoran was able to ruin any chance that someone would help him to enter the bureaucratic ranks, including Wang Wei, who later composed a poem for Meng Haoran's departure from the capital, stating that Meng Haoran would be better off if he remains a hermit among the mountains and lakes. In 737 AD, 5 years later, another scholar official, Han Chaozhong, finally persuaded the emperor to give Meng Haoran another chance. So Han Chaozhong set up a time for Meng Haoran to meet the emperor again. However, when Han sent for Meng Haoran on the agreed time, the latter was drinking with a bunch of friends. And worst of all, he was completely wasted. It is undeniable that Meng Haoran was a great poet. His poetry consolidated the position of 山水诗, or poetry of mountains and rivers, among the other poetic styles, and was later carried forward by Wang Wei and others. However, he was certainly not your typical Confucian scholar officials who would take their social responsibility very seriously. For Meng Haoran, it is far more important to respect who he really was, even when facing the emperor himself. He probably never thought of faking it. This authenticity was probably why Li Bai admired him so much. Meng Haoran died at the age of 52 in 740 AD after a huge banquet with Wang Changing. I talked about the story how he died in my video about Wang Changing. You can check it out here. In my next video, I'm going to introduce another poet, known for his poetry from the frontier. His name is Chen Shen. Chen Shen's poetry from the frontier is known for its patriotic passion and realistic representation of the lives at the frontier. So if you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese philosophies, poetry, and medical literature. If you like the content of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So if you would like to read original text, please contact me. Here's my email address. Otherwise, thank you for viewing my video and I'll see you next time.